Hi, everyone.
Well, hello there. This is Orna Walters.
And this is Matthew Walters, and welcome to Myth Busting Mondays.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about this myth. Should you marry your best friend?
Yep.
Right? The myth of marrying your best friend. So, does that make sense? Is that a recipe for lasting love? What do you think?
Well, before we get into that, just want to remind you that every Monday on Myth Busting Mondays, we take a look at, some of the common myths about love, and we break them down and say, is this true? Is this really helpful? Is this really good information? Or is this something that's just getting in your way?
So, we either give the myth a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Have we given a myth a thumbs up yet?
We kind of gave one a thumbs up.
I guess we have to look back and see.
Maybe.
Maybe we have to find more myths that are helpful.
Curious.
Curious. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So today, should you marry your best friend? Should you marry your best friend?
Should you marry your best friend?
Should you marry your best friend?
Well, it depends. First off, do you want to tear your best friend's clothes off and sleep with your best friend?
So if that's true, I think you're a little bit more than friends.
Yep.
So look, here's the deal. I mean, I think sometimes people get confused about how a relationship progresses. Because certainly that in that romance phase when you're all hot and heavy for one another and you can't keep your hands off each other and you're like ready to do it all the time. Mwah. Right? You're ready to do it all the time. That is an important part of a relationship. And yes, over time, certainly you won't be, as charged, with one another over time, and it will ebb and flow like everything else in life. But, if you're talking to your friend who's been married 30 years and has 4 kids, and you're single looking to get married, and she's like, oh, you end up just being friends anyway. Just pick a good friend to get married to. That's not really a recipe for what we would call long-lasting and soul-satisfying love.
Right. Well, friendship is part of a relationship. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say that she's probably my best friend, right? But it's not like we were best friends and then we got married. We were dating and we were hot and heavy for each other. And we were fooling around and
we were
fell
not
in love.
friends.
Fell in love, right?
Yeah. We were not friends first.
We were not friends first. But that friendship was part of our relationship. The fact that we had things that we had in common. But the other thing that was really important was that chemistry and that attraction.
And honestly, through all of these years, now over a decade of serving clients all around the globe to really help them identify and remove subconscious blocks to love, this particular myth about marrying your best friend really throws the dating strategies off if you are holding on to the belief that you could be friends first, because you can end up in the friend zone. And when you're friend zoned by somebody, that is not a fulfilling relationship, right?
Not
You're
at
in
all.
the friendship because you're hoping that will develop into more. And nobody likes to be friend zoned. I mean, how many of the guys who are listening to us right now can relate, right? I think it happens a lot to guys. It happens a lot to ladies too, right?
Yeah.
I've been definitely a victim of that. However, I think with the ladies it gets a little bit more sticky, complicated stuff because a lot of guys
will sleep with
you.
their friends,
Yeah, they'll
right?
sleep with your friend, and then you're like, oh, he must like me. We had sex, and then you're like, wah, wah. No, he doesn't.
He's not pursuing the relationship.
Yeah, because he just wanted something convenient, and I was there, and I was willing, so the sex happened, but no, he didn't want a relationship with me. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a difference, a little bit more complicated, I think, when, look, people are complicated. We don't draw inside the lines. And what we want to say to you, that there's a chunk of our clients who all of these years of doing this work that are divorced from the best friend they married trying to create something lasting and lengthy, right?
Hoping that chemistry, that attraction would build over time.
Yeah, and so they kind of fell for marry your best friend. And the thing is you can't really settle for a lifetime with somebody. So that essential spark of chemistry, right? That humana, I want to rip your clothes off kind of feeling, right? All of that stuff. You need to have that stuff in the beginning. That's why we call it the romance phase in the beginning. So the first stage of intimate relationship is the romance phase. You do not want to skip the romance. I don't know what that accent's about.
It's okay. It's okay. It's somewhere in Europe, right?
It's somewhere.
So the
where
thing
they
is,
roll their R's.
friendship, right? Friendship is about common interests. It's about similarities. It's about, similar energies. But attraction is about opposites. Attraction is about opposite energies. Attraction is about those things that are different between the two of you, which create that spark, create that excitement, that interest.
The polarity.
The polarity,
yeah.
right? You want to think about magnets, right? You take two magnets and you put the same side facing each other and they repel. They're not attractive. But you flip it and you have the positive side and the negative side, and
woo, they are
just
magnetic.
stick.
They are stuck together. So look, we always hear all the time that opposites attract. And so this is an important factor to consider when you're under the false belief that, oh, just marry your best friend and everything will work out. You really can't settle for a lifetime. I can't stress this enough, because we've really talked to a lot of people that went through a very painful divorce because now that best friend doesn't like them so much, and now they have children and it's complicated and they tried to make it work and it doesn't, because there isn't that spark of attraction. So this is a really important myth, I think, for us to bust, so that you understand you cannot sacrifice that chemistry, attraction piece. And at the same time, you can't leverage everything on it. So just like any recipe, right? Like if you're making bread, and guess what? If you're making bread, you're going to want yeast in there. Otherwise, you're going to end up with just a cracker. But yeast alone does not make a yummy, chewy, crusty on the outside, chewy, yummy on the inside loaf of bread. So if you want all that yumminess, you've got to know that chemistry is only one ingredient of the whatever it is you're looking for. It is a universal ingredient. And this is the interesting thing. Like a lot of times we'll take clients through crafting and creating the vision of what their true soul partnership looks like. Because certainly your relationship does not have to look like ours. As a matter of fact, we caution you and say, actually, don't try to replicate our relationship, because most couples are not designed to be married to each other and also work together. I mean, look at all of these people all around that are like, oh my gosh, I'm spending every day in quarantine with my spouse and they're driving me crazy, right? So do we drive each other crazy? Sometimes. That happens. But by design, we set things up. Like when I was single before Matthew and he before knowing me, we each sort of visioned a relationship where our personal life and professional life were intertwined. And so we crafted that. We wanted that. We each desired that. And we're both built for it. So not every relationship is built for it. As a matter of fact, most aren't. So don't think that you want what we have. If you want what we have, great, but do it on your terms, your way, with your, priority about what's important to you, because not every couple can function spending this much time together with one another. Although we love spending time together. Matthew went out for a few hours today, and by the time he got home, I missed him, because we're weird like that. But so you get to be weird in your way and craft your own true soul partnership, but don't think that the secret to lasting love is marrying your best friend. Like, is this man a friend of mine? Probably my best friend. In the sense that he knows me better than anyone. But you know what? I don't like to think of Matthew as my best friend. I'd rather think of him as my lover, because that is a lot more exciting to me.
Exactly. And the truth is, when Orna needs to talk to somebody and she needs to go about all the details of the thing that happened, and she said this and then I said that and then she said this and then I said that, and what do you think all that means, right? All of that stuff is much better for her to call her best friend and have that conversation, because the truth is, it's just going to make my eyes glaze over and I'm going to be like, oh, that's too much information, right? So when we think about best friends, right, part of it is that natural energy, right? If I'm going to sit and I'm going to talk about football or sports or, any of those things that really I have a lot of passion about, Orna's going to humor me. But, it's better if I call one of my friends and we talk about, wow, did you see that play? That was freaking awesome, right?
I'm really just going to
You're so cute.
You're
so
look,
cute.
I will
right,
listen
so
to
you
the
should have
football.
friends.
Yeah.
That's the thing we want to say is okay, so we're friends, right? We're great friends. We may be best friends, but we're not the
Only
same
friends.
as a friend.
No.
When you think of what a friend really is,
We're
right?
lovers first.
We're lovers first.
Yeah.
And we have friends to fill the role of friends. You don't just want this person to be the only thing in your life. You need other people there to talk to get a different perspective, to share with, to talk about sports or talk about the thing that happened between you and your other friend, and what does it really mean, right? All of that stuff, right? You need to do that with your friends.
Ladies talk about more than just
I know.
when they're upset with someone.
And we talk, and guys talk more about things than just sports.
Really? Like what?
I can't tell you what happens in Fight Club.
Yeah, okay.
Stays in Fight Club.
All right. So look, here's the deal. Do you want to get along with the person that you're going to marry? Yes, but more importantly, you're going to want to rip their clothes off. But do you only want to rip their clothes off and then everything else about them is, and you can't find your way through a conflict together or communicate with one another? Then no, that's not it,
Exactly.
right? So chemistry, only one ingredient. Friendship, friends serve another purpose. When we hear all the time about, like, children, for example, right? We hear, oh, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village to have a village. So as community-based, right?
I think that's going to be a meme now. It,
It
takes a village to have a village.
So you and your true soul partner are not an island living all by yourselves on some mountaintop mastering life together, right? You're going to live in a community. We are supposed to live in communities. Civilized societies that we've had now for quite some time, right? We live in communities. And so there's a purpose to have a lover and somebody that you procreate with and somebody that you create other things with, because procreation is only one way to create something with a partner, right? So there's lots of ways to create with your partner and spread the love between the two of you. And that's what intimate relationship is really for. You're really better together than apart. And the larger part of your community are your friends, right? You deserve to have that for yourself. Your partner deserves it. You deserve it. If you need an upgrade on friends, okay, great. But really living at your highest and best self to create the kind of relationship that we're talking about, this soul-satisfying and long-lasting love relationship, it is important that you master the art of making friends. And the older that you get, honestly, the harder it can be. So don't go dating expecting that you're going to be friends with someone and that friendship will develop into something romantic. That chemistry spark can certainly grow over time, and different people are different. I know for me, if I didn't have an attraction to somebody, in the beginning, I'm probably not going to. But we definitely know other people are wired differently, right? Other people can grow that attraction to someone over time, but you can't forego it altogether and just go, oh, well, this is good enough. Right? This is good enough. He likes me, so I'll marry him. Or she's really into me, I'll marry her. That just doesn't last for a lifetime because, again, you can't settle for a lifetime. That's where you're going to really run into trouble. We want to steer you clear of that trouble. So
what's the answer? So we're looking at...
Should you marry your best friend?
No. Not great love advice.
No, don't do that. Instead, go looking for a lover. Go look for a partner. Looking for a partner means you're going to have shared values, not necessarily shared hobbies. So let's give you one other little tip before we go today. All of those online dating sites and apps, they've got algorithms and they're trying to match you up with somebody who likes the same things you like. And that's why a lot of the time you'll go out with somebody that you've met online and suddenly you have all this hope because you're like, wow, all these boxes are checked. This seems like the right match. And then you go out and meet them in person and you don't have any attraction. That's because when you have so much in common with somebody, that's actually a platonic relationship. So that doesn't have that chemistry spark. So you're looking for the sweet spot. Let's call it the Goldilocks zone, right? The Goldilocks zone is you've got some overlap, you have a little bit of shared interests here and there, and you want to rip the person's clothes off and be intimate with them because how many you find them hot. So you can't forego that. Again, you're not going to go all the way in that direction, and you can't just have hotness. That's going to cool off, and it won't carry you through.
And if that sounds like a lot, like, oh my God, how do I find that very narrow? It's not. It's actually, there's a lot of people that fit that zone. You just got to go out and meet people. You just got to get yourself out there. So thank you for joining us for Myth Busting Mondays. Tomorrow, as always, it's Ask O&M Tuesday, where you get to ask us your questions about dating, mating, and relating, and we'll answer them live here in the group.
So we'll put up a little spot later this evening where you can post questions ahead of time. They'll be in the thread where we post that little meme that says Ask O&M. If you have any comments on today's Myth Busting Monday, we love your feedback. Give us some likes, some love, some reactions, some comments, some questions. We love it. Share with us. We dig that stuff. Ooh, somebody just gave us a thumbs up. Thank you, whoever that is. We'll check it out in a little bit. Make it a great Monday.
Good night.
Good night.